Begin with Apple. Shares down more than 1% this morning on the heels of this new note from Credit Suisse that Becky and Joe just mentioned, saying that iPhone shipments did drop 35% in China. Analysts warning of the ongoing tariff threats. They do couch it, Jim, by saying that there's some seasonality here, the timing of the calendar slightly off, but the second double-digit drop in a row.
Right, and they do. This is an important note. They also talk about how tariff costs, if the tariffs are allowed to be put on this weekend, will cost $67 more for the United States for an Apple phone. So this is definitely a negative. I always say own it, don't trade it. I need to know more because I know that a lot of these different surveys about what's really going on in China have been inaccurate. But this will control the narrative today. And the narrative implies basically that the Chinese government, I think, doesn't want you to buy Apple. And I don't think that's the case. But that when I read this, that's certainly how I feel.
They go on to say that if they did have to account for tariffs in the U.S. market, about a third of calendar 18 iPhone sales, that they'd have a difficult time pushing it through to consumers without an impact on demand.
Do we look at the fact that this gentleman, Matthew Cabral, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing it, had a $221 target price that's certainly ill-advised and has a neutral on it. And so I balance this look at China with the purposeful need to have the facts fit within the story time frame. Because right now he's been wrong. So maybe this is a gambit.
It does feel as though we get these reports about China that alternate between okay or a negative, but it certainly hasn't meant much during the course of the year. We were talking about Apple's incredible performance yesterday, up 71% or so this year to date.
Right.
Coming off, obviously, the lows that it really did see early last year after that warning on China, which seems like a long time ago.
$142 down there in January. Now, I spoke to Tim Cook along with my friend Josh Lipton when they reported their last quarter. Certainly, this was not something that they didn't know the November numbers, but I do feel that people are going to sell the stock and sell it hard on this until someone refutes it. Now, the one thing I would say is that I want to hear, I don't know if we have Katie Huberty from Morgan Stanley. She's always had a better handle on China than any other analyst. But this decline meaningfully, that's the term that they use at Credit Suisse, is going to impact trading. And I think it's front and center for the tariffs, for people saying, well, listen, who's really going to be hurt by the tariffs? So, this is a gang up. I mean, this is a well-timed piece to bring that will make people say, wait a second, maybe it's really happening at last. Didn't happen to Nike. Didn't happen to Starbucks. Hasn't happened to a lot of companies who do business in China. I had Trade Desk on last night. But it is happening in Apple.